Okay, Terrace Lake United Methodist Church has been such an important part of my faith journey. And in the 60s, when I was in elementary school, Betty Clements was my Sunday school teacher. And I have remembered a way she started Sunday school every Sunday with this quote: "May the thoughts of my heart and the words of my mouth be acceptable unto you, O Lord." And it's something I've remembered and thought of and tried to practice myself. And I also remember Jerry Murray as our high school Sunday school teacher, and his faithfulness to come and listen to what we had to say and share his faith, and how important that was to me. And he and his wife Judy were also our MYF youth directors, as well as Jewel and Betty C. And the C's started a Saturday night teen town kind of thing, so we even had two weekend activities for the teenagers of the church. And those families and Betty Clements and have just been so important to the way my life has turned out, and I appreciate those faithful servants who were in children's ministries at the church and youth ministries.
My name is Betty Clements, and I've been a member of this church for nearly 48 years. And my husband and I left the church for a little while and went back over to our church in Raytown due to strange circumstances. Nothing wrong with this church, but anyway, something wrong with my husband. So we were gone for a couple of years, and the first Sunday that we came back out here, I was greeted like I'd been gone for a week. "Well, hi Betty, how are you?" And I never had had such a feeling of I'm home, and I've been home ever since. And as a member of the United Methodist Swimming Group, I'd like to tell all the girls in the church they don't know what they're missing. We have a lovely group. It's a small group. We're down to 4 people who meet regularly, but we do great things with our resources, our limited resources. We made $200 with the church's help on donations for Hope House with the barbecue. And, you know, you can always find time to do something if you really want to. And Olivia greeted me one day when she was a little bit of a girl. I was out working on the tables, and she said, "Are you always here?" And I looked at her and I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Are you always working in the kitchen?" I said, "Yes, I guess I am. So come join me in the kitchen if nothing else." Thanks a lot.
There you go. Thank you, Betty. Anything else, or?
No, and I talked enough.
Okay.
Haven't I talked enough, Dave?
No, that's great. That's awesome. That's the church. Thank you.
I get to know John, so we get married here, so I started going to this church.
Excellent. And how did you come about coming to this church, Jonathan?
Our family moved here back in '75. So,
Okay.
yeah, started here as a elementary school.
Excellent. Fleur and Lee, how did you come about coming to Terrace Lake for the first time?
Well, as Jonathan said, that we moved here in 1975 from 63rd and Agnes, and we used to be a member of Slope Park United Methodist Church, and we found this church is closest to us, so we come to this church, and from that time on up to now.
Okay.
Well, I was, during the MYF, I was one of the designers for the mural in the children's nursery. And then I'm also going to go on record that I was the original Easter pig.
Yes.
I'm trying not to laugh because I don't want my laugh. The original Easter pig.
The original Easter pig.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you ever see pictures, I'm the one inside.
That's
And
it.
who's the one, the new one now?
That I don't know. I don't know who the new one is. So.
Okay. Fleur, Lee, do you have any story or anything that you'd like to share, Joy? Or?
Oh, I belong to the choir at Swamp Park.
No.
Now, being a member on this, I wish they had a choir too, but No,
Oh, yeah.
goodness.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
Definitely.
I'm just happy to belong with this church, friendly and warm people.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that struck me when I first joined into this church.
Excellent. Excellent.
That's true, that's true. Very friendly and caring, you know.
Excellent. All right. Anything else? That's all I got.
I believe that's all we can say, and we love this church.
It was probably when, who was it? It was either Edward, it's probably Edward, and I remember having a hard time like understanding why I was there, and then, you know, because I mean we went every Sunday, but I think at some point I realized that that was just where we were meant to be every Sunday. It was just kind of like our home every Sunday.
Tony?
I also remember Edward, but I remember singing the song twice because he said go for seconds. And you have to sing it twice.
You guys actually here with Elaine was your first. Remember Elaine?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember her.
I remember Elaine's face. He was really nice.
She was nice.
I loved the
She
way.
is nice.
This is just where I've always been. I can't imagine being anywhere else. I remember whenever we tried a different church and then whenever we came back, the difference was amazing. I love this church, you know. It's a lot smaller. That makes me feel more like I'm at home.
All right. Anything else you want to share?
I play drums.
Tony. We edit that out. I don't like that.
Cut.
We came to Kansas City as 21-year-olds from the farm in western Kentucky. Ralph was taking a correspondence course with railroad communication, and he had to come up here to do the telegraphy part. And after he got up here, we noticed that there were big posters in windows for policemen. And he said he'd always wanted to do that, but he never said anything to anybody about it. But he put his application in, and then he didn't take it back because he thought, well, they're in transit, you know, they won't ever call him. So they called him and hired him, and we bought a house out on 107th and Grandview Road in 1960. Moved in Thanksgiving. And the next Sunday we went to the service at Terrace Lake, which was over in Westridge School at that time. So that's how we got started.
All right.
Of course, the big things we remember are with our family. Both our children were baptized here. Our daughter was married here, and her two children were baptized here. But I guess the biggest thing is that coming here with no family, the people in this church have just been our family. You know, they've been, anything we needed came from people in this church. So that's the biggest thing, is just, it's church, it's home.
We started attending this church in August of '85, and we got married in this church in September of '85, and we have been faithful members ever since. And we've gone through several ministers, and we've loved them all. And the kids have always enjoyed the Easter breakfast and the Easter pig. I just enjoy the feeling of peace I get when I come into this church, and when I can sit upstairs and I just feel the presence of the Lord.
That's awesome.
And so that's what keeps me coming back. It doesn't matter who the minister is, and I love the people, and I love our ministers, but I really get a tremendous sense of fulfillment when I walk in here. And it's funny how I came into the parking lot this morning. I was the last one here of my family because I saw my parents' car, my sister's car, my other sister's car, and my daughter's car were already here before me, and it's just been a blessing that they've started attending on a regular basis, and we're here to meet me.
And you're the one that brought them all together.
I think they were all here the first time the day I got married. I mean, they hadn't been attending a church. We never really grew up in a church, but it's really wonderful that we're all here together.
Well, first time I came to the church was when my sister Carrie Lewis got married to Jim Lewis, and I was her maid of honor, and that was 24 years ago.
And then you just started coming from there on?
I came off and on for many years, and then 3 years ago I joined the church, and I came off and on for those many years to see the kids and their programs and enjoy the Christmas program that they put on. Congratulations, and maybe we have another 50.
My son was in Cub Scouts, and my son ID was in Cub Scouts, and Betty C. was the den mother. And so she invited us to come to church, and we hadn't decided on a church. We hadn't lived there too long on Kings Highway, and so we came to school, because that's where church was then, in West Ridge School. And so we came to West Ridge School and started a church, and I've come ever since.
Well, in 1959, we moved from Kansas City to 3807 Kings Highway, and that is when I started 4th grade at West Ridge Elementary. And my brother was